for our Golf Channel Roundtable. Ryan Lavner, Golf Channel senior writer, and Golf Digest's Joel Beale. Ryan, I want to start with you. We've talked a lot over the last week or two about TGL. We've now finally seen Tiger make his debut. Did anything change in your view of this product last night, for better or worse?
Yeah, I think so, Eamon. I think it's fair to say that this was clearly not as strong as the debut match was just a week earlier. The competition somehow was even more of a blowout. It went 20 minutes long. In person last week at the SoFi Center, I felt like the second hour dragged, and I was surprised to see that on TV watching it last night, it felt that exact same way. I think the main differentiator between weeks 1 and weeks 2 was that we saw some really poor shots on Tuesday night, to the point that you wondered whether the simulator was actually working properly. And that's a foundational issue for TGL. If guys can't dial in their distances from 150, or they don't trust it, that's a really big problem if you're asking guys potentially to be putting real life cash on the outcome and particular shots. And so you see Tiger missing greens with wedges. You see guys saying they flushed it and it's coming up short in the bunkers. You see guys not even sniffing the hole on 10 footers. Like, I still think TGL had its moments. I still think it's cool second screen fodder, and I obviously would agree with most people that if this is a close match, we would probably be having entirely different perspective on what this looks like and what it can be. But I really do think that there's work to do in order to make this a smashing success.
Joel, you were prolific on X last night. You called this a step back, stilted conversation, choppy production, and you also mentioned that you want to see some new blood, maybe some different voices, that maybe the players we're seeing right now just don't have that comedic gene, as it were. What would you like to see different?
Yeah, I think there actually could be a long-term audience for this product. It's just, and Eamon just touched on it. Right now, the product doesn't know what it is, which is a little concerning given the operation was gifted an extra year to kind of work out the kinks, and this still just comes off as a half-baked idea at the moment. It's pitched as entertainment, but it's treating itself too hard to be an actual competition, and treating this like a regular sport is just missing the point. You have to really lean into the goofiness, because these guys are competitors at their heart, and that's going to come through no matter how trivial the game is. And I think a lot of that actually falls on the production side. We as you mentioned, we need someone to be kind of funny and loose behind the mic, to actually provide golf commentary when need be. At the moment, the crew that has been working, it's a non-golf crew that hasn't really livened things up. It needs to be shorter. I think two hours plus is at least an hour too long. The current format, it gets very repetitive. I was, as I've watched this, it feels like it'd be a lot better as a non-live sport, allowing production to kind of cut and clean up the presentation. I mean, TGL would probably counter that, hey, that probably knocks out the betting and gambling aspect. But I mean, if you're gambling on guys hitting golf balls into computer screens on a simulator that's not exactly working, like, my man, go get some help. I will say though, like, there has been a lot of criticism, at least last night, compared to the debut. We always rip golf for not being innovative. So kudos for at least trying something here. And I do think there could be something here for a sect of golfers. But just right now, this comes across as an entity that is just trying to pad the bank accounts of the golfers and the brain trust behind it. And I think fans can see right through it.
Ryan, I want to move on to real golf right now. Rory McIlroy met with the media in Dubai today, and he was asked to respond to Jon Rahm's comments yesterday when Rahm said we are in the golden age of golf right now. And Rory's response was that Jon was looking at it through rose-tinted glasses, that he's not really acknowledging how fractured and disjointed the game is. Which side of that argument are you coming down on? Are you closer to the Rahm end of things or the Rory end of things?
I think Rory, as we sit here in January 2025, is more spot on with his analysis. I mean, Jon Rahm himself, a day earlier, acknowledged that, a year and a half removed from the framework agreement, he is surprised that things have not progressed in a manner that I think most reasonable people would have expected. I do think, potentially when you get 2 or 3 years down the line, if LIV players can and are reintegrated into the PGA Tour, and it is sort of more of a global enterprise, and you do have different formats, and you can mix up what has been sort of a stale PGA Tour product, then yeah, I think you could get to a place that is operating, as Jon Rahm said, at a higher level. But right now, as we sit here in January 2025, I mean, the game's as fractured as it possibly could be. You look at what the schedule for LIV is going to be, what the schedule for the PGA Tour looks like for 2025. You're going to have golf fans' attentions divided even more than they were in the previous couple of years, and that's no good for anybody.
Joel, what are you hearing from colleagues or maybe even friends that are watching professional golf or not watching professional golf? January is supposed to be a month of optimism and excitement, welcoming the game back. Are people still frustrated at the fractures atop the game, or are they looking forward to the new year, somewhat excited about TGL? I mean, January is supposed to be all good. We're not supposed to be whining until later in the summer.
Yeah, I think there's definitely I feel like it's more apathetic than it's ever been. At this point, it's definitely turned people off. I think there was some enthusiasm off TGL, but at this moment, yeah, I think a lot of fans are just waiting for this to get over. I think the more I kind of hear about it, it's just, I think people from outside the golf ecosystem, they look at this pursuit for golf to try to be something it's not. It's just very myopic. It sort of reminds me of a fast food chain trying to diversify its menu. Like, hey, we're serving breakfast now. We have vegan options. It's like, I don't know, Burger King. I don't know if you've perfected the burger yet. Maybe focus on that. I'm sorry if Burger King's a Golf Channel sponsor, but golf was just blessed with its influx of participation over the past 5 years. And at the top level, things have never been worse. So to me, these TGL things, all these other new things, like, it doesn't matter how much you branch out. If the core is rotten, all this is for naught.
On that subject of how it's kind of in conflict right now, Joel, there are reports that LIV is close to a deal with Fox Sports to broadcast its events in the United States. Half of the schedule is around the world, but their last 3 events on the LIV schedule are going week to week to week against the 3 FedEx Cup playoff events, do you think that's some kind of genius move to go up against 3 of the strongest fields of the year on the PGA Tour to make a statement? Or is that the last petty act of Greg Norman before he left?
I don't know if anything associated with LIV can be classified as genius. It also doesn't really matter. I mean, there's no one's watching this, so it doesn't matter when they go up against anything. The Fox Sports play seems more to be in correlation with what Fox Sports wants out of the World Cup in 2034, right? Which is visiting Saudi Arabia, the backers of LIV. So yeah, I've seen wonders of why exactly they would go against the FedEx Cup. At the same time, it's not like the FedEx Cup has been drawing that big of numbers the past couple of years either. So it just goes back to what we just discussed. Ultimately, this hurts not LIV or the PGA Tour. It hurts the fan, because this is just becoming a watered down product that's already watered down in itself. So yeah, these reports about Fox Sports, I guess that's better than the CW, although I think apparently CW has a wider audience. So I'm not sure. Obviously, Fox Sports is in the industry, but it's not in the golf industry. So I'm not sure how this helps diversify what LIV's trying to build in their audience.
The uncertainty of 2024 has followed us into 2025. Lav, Joel, thank you for your time this morning.